starts as just a normal day in Mushroom Kingdom.
Bowser eats a magic vacuum shroom.
I don't even know what it is, but I'm eating it.
Which makes him inhale everybody
Into his stomach. Mario and Luigi have this amazing adventure inside Bowser.
Woohoo! They have to fight all the things that Bowser inhales. They're pounding on nerve cells,
Banging his muscles,
Things that they have to attack, like Mario, Luigi.
just kicking germ butt.
Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story on Nintendo DS and Nintendo DSi. Rated E for everyone.
Science fiction. Double feature. Dr. X will build a creature. At the late night double feature picture show.
When you think of iconic video game villains, there's a chance that Bowser is among the first names that comes to mind. As simple as his role has always been, I think what's really helped him persist is the wide range of contents and identities Nintendo is willing to observe within him. He's been intimidating, goofy, lovable, indomitable, melodic, and even sympathetic. And I think no appearance by the character has ever tied those facets together, quite like Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story. There's no shortage of playable appearances of Bowser, but I would fully call this his most realized starring role. One where playing as Bowser feels like playing as that heavyweight boss character in the other castle with no restrictions. Even Super Mario RPG, while a neat game, feels a bit compromised its playable Bowser. Like there's no way this is the guy I struggle to beat over and over. Mario and Luigi finally lets us control the powerhouse directly. He isn't rubbing shoulders with weaker characters and isn't really held back by that. When the diabolical Fawful fools Bowser into eating a mysterious vacuum shroom that gives him Kirby-esque inhale abilities, Bowser ends up swallowing everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom, all according to Fawful's plan to thin out his opposition, leaving Bowser to pursue his rival on his own, as far as he knows. Within the Koopa King's crannies and nooks, Mario and Luigi find themselves in the bewildering position of traversing Bowser's internals and with little choice but to tamper with their old foe's body from the inside when he needs a boost. Whether this is impacting his muscles when he needs a bulk up, breaking up enzymes when he overeats, or exploring his very brain for lost codes, Bowser's Inside Story intertwines and parallels the brothers' fantastic voyage with the first adventure in which we follow Bowser firsthand, while he's unaware his own nemesis are assisting him from within his autonomy like a mecha. When you get past the strangeness of the premise, it's sort of brilliant, helped by the stark contrast between playing Bowser and Mario and Luigi. Bowser doesn't have a brother to rely on during battle, but he's appropriately made of tougher stuff and he possesses a wide range of diverse abilities Mario doesn't, which makes the narrative swap between both characters' point of view enriching. Bowser's new inhale ability also allows him to swallow weaker enemies and banish them to battle Mario and Luigi in his belly, a great solution for overwhelming battles that beautifully ties the premise back into the overall game design. An exquisite escape net if Bowser is outgunned. For such an out there concept as Mario by way of Osmosis Jones, they found a lot of fun ways to play with it and have it impact the gameplay, so it doesn't just feel like a quirky gimmick. It really is like playing two entirely different games, and swapping between them within the same encounter. Mario and Luigi are less tough than Bowser, but this is compensated by numbers. Since each bro can attack on their own in a turn, and if one of the two falls ill or goes fully pipe-shaped, the other can fight if he's still kicking. Or he can use an item to revive his brother from death's door. Meanwhile, Bowser is largely fighting solo, meaning he can't distribute attacks within a turn across a partner. So he must fully commit to either attacking or healing during his phase. But this is helped by him being built like a tank and hitting twice as hard. Bowser could also make up with his solitude with spread shot of fire breath that can encompass all of his foes at once. It's a nice paradigm shift since Mario and Luigi can generally only hit one opponent at a time, unless of course they use their bros moves. More or less the game's limit breaks, these are heavy hitters that'll send most foes packing. These finishers can include kicking a Koopa shell back and forth like a soccer ball, inflating Luigi with snacks until he produces the force of an earthquake with one descent, or playing tennis with an earthbound asteroid. Typical Mario stuff. On the flip side, Bowser's equivalent is his brawl attacks, which involve him rounding up a cluster of his iconic henchmen, from igniting Goombas as they march into battle, to aligning fire with Magic Koopa's magic for an explosive coup de grace. This would be terrific if you just watch them play out, but they all require sort of a minigame to maximize damage. Mario and Luigi's Bros attacks will have their best output when you time button presses to their animations, while Bowser's all require the DS stylus. It's incredibly cool they even went so far as to make that distinction. Everything that could be arbitrary about playing as Bowser feels defined in a way that really sticks the landing. As the extravagance of these moves has demonstrated, I hope, another huge tally in this game's favor is its art. There are two versions of Bowser's Inside Story, the original on the DS and a remake on the 3DS, and I think a lot of people err on the side of loyalty to the original, but I think both look pretty amazing. Mario and Luigi always had a bit of hop and pep in these RPGs that isn't absent from other games, but feels distilled here in a really infectious way, and it's the most expressive and boisterous Bowser has ever been. You buy all of Bowser's strength and charisma as a career bad guy, but they also manage to make him really funny. I love when the heroes are exploring his brain looking for a password he forgot, and they practically can't sort through his paramount fixations taking up real estate in his mind, those being food and, of course, Princess Peach. Outside of visual preference, the other big difference between the two games is the 3DS remake getting an additional campaign, Bowser Jr.'s Journey, which is unfortunately a pretty noted departure from the main game, right down to being more of a strategy battle simulator than an RPG. If you're super invested in character development for the Koopalings, it's worth a look. But at the moment, I'm kinda just noting it out of obligation. I didn't find it all that fun. But I like Junior and company as much as the next guy, and there were some cute moments. It's a good thing the sprites in this game are pretty, because some of these battles can get lengthy, and not because they're long-winded in a bad way. In fact, they're among the best I've ever experienced in an RPG. I know I'm not breaking new ground when I express some degree of fatigue with the turn-based formula, something Bowser's Inside Story embraces while iterating on in some great ways. Instead of just kicking back during your opponent's turn and watching how much damage they deal you still have autonomous control over your character during the foe's attack, giving you an opportunity to block and even counter incoming damage. They don't half-ass it with a single well-timed defense button either. Mario, Luigi, and Bowser all have high and low blocks mapped to different buttons, and you'll face punishment for misreading an opponent's attack animation and responding with the wrong one, striking a beautiful balance between classic turn-based combat and real-time adaptations. It was so enrapturing, the degree to which this game kept you involved in the combat and rewarded your commitment. The final boss in particular puts you through some brutal hoops insofar as needing to react with timing and precision to avoid almost instantly fatal damage. It's the first time a turn-based RPG has ever felt bereft of downtime to stare at the screen and strategize, or dread the damage you're about to take because you just know you didn't have enough turns to heal your team or set up shields. The one true way to avoid damage is all on you in an instantaneous sense, and hinges on fighting back. But you still have to do so carefully, since trying to retaliate recklessly will cost you some serious damage. You're gonna need to keep track of a lot of conditions for each of the enemies you're up against, which ones can revive each other, power each other up, and others you'll benefit by using Bowser's Inhale to get ahead of their own lengthy item setups. Bowser in particular will be punching above his weight against much bulkier enemies than Mario and Luigi are, especially toward the climaxes of the game's big acts, where Bowser can grow to a kaiju size and deal with equally titanic enemies. I'd be lying if I said the giant combat was quite as suave as the usual combat, but it's fun for a change of pace, and like all of this game's variety, it never overstays its welcome. Using the stylus for those final beatdowns is exceptionally satisfying too. I think the way I talk about RPGs in this video has painted me as something of a skeptic, but that's not true. I'm just kind of a Goldilocks. I like them just right. Challenging, but not excessive. Taxing, but not leisurely. Mechanically distinguished, but not dense or serpentine. I found the more I explored Bowser's Inside Story, the more I found it was practically reaching into my brain and doing everything I wanted an RPG to do. It's easily my favorite of the genre now. I can't promise it'll be for everyone. If you're heavy in the Atlas circles, this might seem a little kiddie. I'd say it only gets as hard as a more challenging Pokemon game, and it's not even quite as long or content-rich. But it's rare I can confidently say I practically didn't flee from a single encounter over the course of an RPG with the option, because the combat was so involving and addicting, and the sprite work was too good to pass up. I wanted to see these fun attack and win animations over and over again. An RPG that has a palette of minigames that don't feel like kroners too. From carrot eating to sparking Bowser's energy in his bloodstream, I could see someone finding the occasional diversion a little annoying, but they're tied nicely to the game's cheery tone, and I was invested enough to the narrative of pumping up Bowser's muscles that I really wanted to tackle them all. It always has to do with the sort of covert mission to get Bowser strong enough to defeat Fawful himself. So whether I'm helping Bowser shed extra flab, or massaging a weird lady by landing 100 brawl attacks at once, Bowser's Inside Story never feels distracted or incongruous. If you're like me and you were burned by the boringest sin opening hours of Mario and Luigi Brothership, rest assured that's not a norm for the series that carries into this installment. It didn't even take me a single hour of Bowser's Inside Story to feel like I was having the time of my life. It's pretty widely agreed that this is the best Mario and Luigi game, and as a newcomer way later in life, this left some King Koopa-sized shoes to fill, which is all the more reason to check it out now.
Continue.